Welcome everybody to Pizza Industry Convos, part of the Pizza Club Network. I'm Michael Fox from Pizza Club. I am joined tonight by my guest, Colin Caplan from Taste of New Haven in New Haven, Connecticut. Colin, welcome to Pizza Club. Welcome back.
Thank you, Michael. It's so nice to be back. And talking with you is always a pleasure.
I'm excited to chat with you. We have a lot to catch up on tonight.
Yeah,
First of all, for those who aren't familiar with you, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what the work that you do up in Connecticut in New Haven?
sure. Yeah. I do a lot of different things, but I run a food tour business called Taste of New Haven. We run food tours, pizza classes, festivals, galas, you name it. And I also write and research and teach history. And my latest book is Pizza in New Haven. Worked on a lot of shows about pizza and kind of the culture of pizza, especially here in Connecticut. And I do a lot to get involved in the community in so many different ways. So I become a lobbyist, lobbying for pizza, and I think this is all about passion. That's what I'm a passion person. I'm a storyteller.
You are you're a passionate guy, and I know you care a lot about your community and pizza. So I think we should jump in and let's talk. Speaking of passion, and I think one of the big kind of news stories that's been floating around for those who are following has been your I guess I was going to call it delegation, but you basically took a group of folks from Connecticut, pizzeria owners, politicians, and such, and went to Washington D.C. to get something read on the floor of the House. Is that not correct? So talk a little bit about what that was all about and how that came to be, because I don't know that people are familiar with the whole backstory on that.
No, no one. People just know that people are angry. There's just all this hubbub going around, and they're like, "What's going on with Connecticut and New Haven? This getting loud." Okay, so it actually all started with me trying to make pizza the state food of Connecticut 3 years ago during the pandemic, and trying to do something positive for our restaurants and bring attention to something that's a really very popular thing here, but it's been taking a while. And so this last year, 2024, on National Pizza Day, I was able to get the governor to sign a declaration affirming that New Haven is the pizza capital of, of America. And while that was so much fun and a lot of people here in Connecticut saw it, we wanted to do more to kind of tell this story about how passionate we are about pizza and what does it matter? Like why does it matter and who does it matter to? So Rosa DeLauro, our U.S. Congressperson, came up with a great plan. She said, "Why don't we take this to Washington D.C.?" And between me and a PR person who works with the Velo Airlines and Laz Parking and has lots of connections to transportation, I was able to gather over 100 pizza makers, community members, veterans, and also get some lawmakers together on a plane, go down to Washington, D.C., get to the steps of the Capitol, make a big announcement basically saying that New Haven's the pizza capital of the United States and Connecticut is the pizza state. And what this is actually this document right here. It's just this like thing. And it got read on the floor, and it's now a permanent record in the Library of Congress. So it's not a law. It's not, some commandment that everyone must adhere to and, drop all their dough pins or their proofing boxes. No, was all about marketing and pride, and in one of the smallest states in the country too, mind you.
Really impressive that you're able to kind of pull that off. And yeah, even before that, you were lobbying to get pizza as the state food of Connecticut, right? Recognized as the official state food. And when did you sort of get into pizza politics, as it were? When did this all begin, and how did? Because obviously this is sort of the culmination of many different things that you're working on. But how did we get to here? Like,
I mean, I was taking a shower. As you know, all great ideas come from either running, or taking a shower. So it was during the pandemic, and it was an idea that I wanted to bring out to help local businesses, small businesses, mom and pop shops, and bring some pride and something positive to our lives. So it started with that. Had nothing to do with trying to get into politics or trying to ruffle feathers. It was certainly the opposite. And every action has its counter reaction, as they say. So I think it's been fun.
What was the initial reaction, even before you went to the Congress and went to DC? sort of internally in the state of Connecticut, like when you're trying to get Connecticut as a state food and trying to get more awareness about pizza in the state. What was sort of the feedback inside Connecticut initially? Was it
Yeah.
positive? Was it an uphill struggle? I mean, I know you've been working on this for a while.
Yeah, I mean, well, the state food is interesting because, talking to lawmakers, they all stand behind it. Both sides of the aisle, they're all saying this is a great thing. We love this, but making laws is really tough, and only so many, you know, baby incubus laws can actually become law. It has to go through two different houses and then signed by the governor, and we just never made it that far. Both times we tried, and then we're going to try again next year. So I think it's just a learning curve of understanding how long things take in politics and in law. I gained some respect for what people are doing to try to create really important things for us in this country. So that was sort of a lot of, it's an uphill downhill thing. It's a lot of letdown. There's a lot of this is really what I want to be spending my time on. And so it came to my understanding that we can create declarations, proclamations, without going through any kind of body of law. You just have to talk to somebody who knows the governor or talk to somebody who knows a congressperson. And I happen to know both. So it just became really easy. And when you talk to people about this stuff, again, it's kind of like, oh my gosh, we can do that. And I think that realization that this would be so much fun, it's positive, it's promoting something that Connecticut is known for and that we do really well. So I think in all these ways, it's been met with positivity. Even, I had a fundraise to do this whole trip. So in fundraising, it was actually one of the easier things I've ever fundraised. I'm not saying it was easy, but no one questioned that they would be helping this cause. They said, if anything, I want to stand behind this cause.
Pizza was the one thing that I guess that brought everybody together in the political spectrum. That's interesting.
As it does. I mean, pizza. I think we all love pizza. It's a shared food. You can top it with whatever you want, and we can still talk about it and even have dinner over it.
That's awesome. So when get this group together, talk a little bit about that sort of. I mean, you had a lot of different people in this group, right? And you have this delegation. How did you sort of organize the people? And I know that you're very involved in the pizza community, obviously in New Haven. But how did these folks all come together, and how did you get them to come to DC with you?
Yeah, I mean, wrangling over 100 people is kind of tough. And they're not some people I'd never met. I met them the day that we flew away, and so a lot of it was using the resources that we have here, and it was people I know at restaurants I work with. It was also people who know other restaurateurs, and some of these people were very, very great at organizing and spreading the message. Hey, you want to help? You want to be part of this? You want to come with us? And even getting veterans involved. It's tricky because veterans, actually anyone we know could be a veteran, and there's also the concept of veterans being, you know, unfortunately disabled or having problems after war and battle, and it was also picking the people who were able to go on a trip like this and could get off of work. And it was really an honor for them. I mean, they were so honored. And we visited a war memorial, actually a whole bunch of war memorials when we were down there. So it really was a testament and a way to give back to the people who've risked their lives, for this country, and just give them something fun. And I thought our lead sponsor of that whole event, which was a new car dealership, and I don't mean it's new. They're actually like a 80-year-old car dealership, A1 Toyota. That was all they wished. They said, we don't want any attention. We just want to support what you're doing and help veterans. And I was a little we all said, wow, you just made this so much more meaningful than just a trip to the Capitol and celebrating pizza. So I think there's a lot of meaning that can happen. I think you can build meaning and memory and memorable events around one thing. And it just has to, I think with the right intention, it can happen. And it got big. It got really big.
You had pizza makers there too, in addition to veterans, right? And
Yeah.
who were some? Just give us a little bit of an overview of the kinds of people that traveled with you or were down there.
We had, we had a third, fourth, and fifth generation of the Pepe family. We had the owner of Modern. We had Sally's son, from Sally's. We had the owner of Bar. We had the two of the members of the fourth generation of the Zupardi family, who just had their 90th anniversary, and we had members of the Greek pizza making community. There's a lot of Greeks making pizza in Connecticut too. We had Turkish pizza makers. We had Egyptian pizza makers. We had Armenian pizza makers, like from Zanelli's. And so we had a statewide group from all over Connecticut of restaurant owners and pizzeria owners that are usually at work, or they're not. And this was something for them to do that made them feel part of it. And the best part is they all got to meet each other a lot for the first time, and to have truly about, I think it was about over 50 of our guests were from pizzerias and restaurants that make pizza, and to have them merging and talking and kind of getting to know each other it was very impactful. And
That's
those are
really
bonds that they can now have.
That's really great. And
Yeah.
I think, before we talk a little bit more about the spicier side of this conversation, I want to talk about community and what you're doing there to build this community, which is really, I think, maybe not exactly replicable in other markets and other areas that are into pizza, but just on the conversation of like your pizza community and what that means to you and the people in that area, that you maybe aren't all competition. You can work together towards something to sort of elevate, and it's clear that that's what's happening there. So any advice to other markets or pizzerias in different, even if it's not a major city or just a different market where there's other pizzerias around them, how can this serve as a somewhat of a model, albeit maybe not you're not going to have a declaration per se in DC, although maybe you will.
We'll
Yeah,
see.
just curious. Yeah, well, you never know, right?
That's the
So
spicy part.
yeah, so we'll get there. But before we get there, what's your advice to others?
I would like, I think that coming up with an idea, like whatever that idea is, if it has legs, if other people are feeling influenced by it, whether it's pizza or hot dogs or using food, but let's say some cultural aspect that brings people together. I think that the realization that you can roll with something and keep a focus on something, but also let the voices of others like chime in and say, hey, like, we think that could be this, we could do it like this, we can make this happen. It's like literally there's no walls, there's no box, there's no lesson to even come from. It was kind of learning as we go. But the thing that I learned, and I've been doing this, in the food scene myself for about 15 years, that it's like it's just evolving. It's like evolve with what's happening. The trends change. There's so many different movements and things going on at all times. So I think just like see what you see is like the trend, and see what's beyond the trend. See what is the future. And I think right now, I mean, more than ever, pizza is huge and it's been growing. And so anything to do with pizza is going to get attention. Anything to do with pizza actually can create fundraising opportunities, and pizza is food. I mean, we're feeding people, we're giving people respect and homage to the hard work families, and because Connecticut is a big pizza making community, it really is. People from other places think of only the big cities, and they don't realize that Connecticut has the highest percentage of Italian Americans. I mean, there's a reason why there's pizza here, and we grew up with it. We didn't realize how much it was impacting us until we look around and we say, man, we really are a pizza community. We're just this giant pizza community, and we should all work together to make our voices louder. And I think that's what was able to easily happen here.
That's great. And you've also brought rivals together, right? Like these are pizzerias that maybe sometimes there's a little bit of rivalry between, who's the best, and talk a little bit about that, about sort of bringing these disparate forces together. It's not all, kumbaya and peace and love, I would imagine, but in general, they came together for a cause. Like, but there is, you're in a very, controversial, there's a lot of competition.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like the biggest one is Sally's and Pepe's. I mean, that's what people who take away from New Haven is like, oh, they're right down the street and there's lines at both. And like, how could they, what are they doing here? Like one's there, one's there. Where are you going to go? I mean, we growing up here, we knew like, are you a Pepe's family? Are you a Sally's family? Are you a modern family? A Zupardi's family? And it's like picking having those choices to pick. it's defining amongst the customers. But for the pizzerias, man, Sally Salvatore was Frank Pepe's nephew, so they were once just one family. He worked at Pepe's in the 1920s and 30s. So there was a family. They had separate businesses, and then you fast forward, and now they're run as corporations, and so there is this actual competition that is happening that's kind of interesting. Ultimately, as the lover of all things New Haven Abits and pizza, I've saw the light. I'm like, okay, what you guys are doing is just extending the brand of New Haven pizza, and I see it that way. I see it as a marketing tool because they can compete all they want. They can say we did this first, we're bigger, we're better, But ultimately, they're taking the attention, and that's the attention that I do as a business, that I do as a teacher, as a researcher. I want to bring attention to our pizza. So it's all part of it. It's never been planned, but I let the pieces fall into place and sit back in my high tower, which is a 2-story old school house. You can see, and and I just and you make some of the coolest things that can happen are just from what we have in our communities.
I love it. And
Yeah.
and speaking of not all smiles and rainbows. New York had a sort
Where?
of bone
I'm
to
sorry.
pick
Where?
with. Yeah, I know. New York had a bone to pick with this, or at least some. There were some articles and press that kind of went around. So I'm just curious, like your thoughts on this as a sort of a, I don't know, like bit of a fire starter for so maybe what, like some animosity, I guess, from New York towards Connecticut and vice versa. So I'm curious what that was like in the fallout after all of this.
Yeah. I mean, nothing makes me smile harder than realizing that there's nothing to fight about, but people get angry about something. No, I think anything animosity, any kind of like feeling of like somebody got betrayed, or they're lesser than something, or somebody is being kind of getting fed more, getting more. That's all stuff that is not helpful, and it's not going to do anything to propel even the cause of, let's say, New York City's pizza scene. All it does is make, unfortunately, New York, those people in New York doing that look like they're upset and whining, and nobody wants a whiner. I mean, come on. But it's funny. It's funny in a sense. Like, I think it's all with humor that we can do this, that we can kind of argue about it and say, like, how dare you, New York? Like, people are still saying that there's no way that Connecticut's the pizza capital and New Haven's the pizza capital. They're like, it's always going to be New York. It's got to be New York. What are you talking about? And that's an attitude that I think people always had. And part of my role is to dispel that attitude, is to just remember that there are many cultural amenities in our country that we can learn from and share. And we're just like, a couple hours up the coast right here, and we're not big, we're not broad and powerful. You go to another country, where are you from? Oh, I'm from outside of New York. It's like, now I can say I'm from New Haven, the pizza capital.
So you had the mayor of New York kind of taking swings at you, or about this whole trip. Talk about that too. What was that like to hear, like official government folks coming at New Haven? What was that like too? That must have been kind of interesting.
Yeah, I felt like he obviously doesn't have enough to do at his own job, to be able to comment on something happening in a different state that has nothing to do with his direct his meal. But what it says to me is that he's going to defend his city. So I mean, at least he's loyal in a way to his city, and a good mayor will do that. Our mayor, I'm not saying Adams is a good mayor. I'm saying that our mayor did that, and he's a staunch like defender of New Haven, and like, it's sort of like you do that. You take on the role. You're now speaking on behalf of everybody as much as you can. But
he has to
honestly,
defend the pizza. It's his job, right? Like
it's
that's
sort of his job. Even defending the rats that eat the pizza. Like, apparently, that's a big
oh
thing there. We don't have those rats that eat pizza. We we have squirrels that eat pizza, but not
oh.
rats. Uh, so
So you have the pizza squirrel, is what you're saying?
Oh yeah, we do. They're huge. They're just these massive. Like, they're bulky. They don't even move around anymore. They just fall out of the tree and eat pizza. It's weird. So no, but I think that the real the real voice that I've heard of reason is always Scott Wiener, and he to me is the pizza mayor of New York and beyond. And he really is rational about it. He's like, there's no reason to get upset about something that is positive and community building, and it has nothing to do with or disparaging another community. It's just raising one. And I say, like, if New Haven's the pizza capital, why can't New York just be the pizza king? Or why can't New York be the pizza queen? Or, we can keep going on that. Why does capital get everybody and make them feel lower, in a caste? So
Right.
I present that, and I challenge New York and New Jersey to really come to the table with something bigger and better. Come on.
Well, it's not a law. Like, for clarity, as you mentioned, it's a proclamation, right? It was read on the floor of the House, so there's nothing stopping New York from
Just gonna read it.
doing, like you said, something. Yeah, exactly. There you go. There's the
I mean, it
congressional
looks
directive.
pretty official, though. I mean,
It
this is
does. It
pretty.
does. I don't
This is
know.
pretty dope. Like, I also have this other one. That this is from the governor. So we have this other one here. I'm not supposed to have these, by the way. And official statement. Which way do we go? Here we go. It's
There
like
you go.
it's got the seal and everything. So I mean, these are pieces of paper, but they represent, and they make news, and they get people to talk about this. And I think that's the whole point. Is even it's not like we're all hating each other. I think the whole point is we're having a conversation about how important pizza is to each other,
Yeah.
and
And,
it's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing, actually, that people come to the defense of their local neighborhood pizzeria and say, no, you ours is better. It's
yeah.
beautiful.
No, I mean, look, we're talking about pizza at the end of the day, so it's a
Yeah,
positive. It's a net positive for everybody. I mean, I think there's a lot of pride for New Haven pizza for sure, and same thing for New York. There's just a lot of pride, and I there's a lot of
yeah,
tensions that flare about it. But you know what? We're talking about pizza, so it's a good day, right? So
yeah. And ultimately, as we all know, as you and I know, that pizza is in like the taste buds of the beholder. There is no way to tell someone what's better.
right,
You just have to go and try it, and you'll know if you like it better or not. It's not even a question of better. It's like,
right.
and pizza is what you grew up with. It's like, we have our childhood pizzas. We have the pizza we don't want to ever touch again that we grew up with too. And yeah, and I think I see some people, saying like, "There's no bad pizza." I'm like, that's not true, because if you come from this area of the country of the world, generally speaking, the bar is high, and I think that's still not a fact. That's just saying, in my taste buds, the bar is high. So I think, again, it's like, we're never trying to sway anybody. We're not trying to, you know, convert people to a beats.
No, but you're raising awareness, and I think that's at the end of the day, that's all you can ask for, right? Is to put make sure people talk about New Haven in the conversation about pizza. I mean, that's at the minimum, right? We could do that, and
Absolutely. It's been my goal for, most of my life, is to promote and support this city. It really is. I'm Mr. New Haven. When I was a kid, all my high school friends said, he's
well,
Mr. New Haven. He loves New Haven so much. That's me.
there you go. Well,
Yep.
you're doing a great job. Congratulations. It's not an easy feat when you pulled off. So I know you're proud of the accomplishment, and your community is. So I'm sure there's more to come. But speaking of, let's switch gears a little bit though.
Okay.
So I want to talk about your movie that's coming out, Slice of America. Tell us you're making pizza movies, and you've done this before. This isn't the first one. So you're starring in a pizza movie, and it's coming out. So tell us about it, and yeah, tell us what
I'm
we should
happy
know.
to. This is another beautiful example of how we can share our favorite food together, and it's storytelling. So, from the producers, creators of Pizza: A Love Story, which is streamable and watchable, and it came out in 2019, all about the history of Sally's, Pepe's, and Modern in New Haven. It was a storytelling of the three, what we call the Holy Trinity of pizzerias here, the most historic in the city of New Haven. And a pizza man from Florida, originally from Connecticut, originally from New Haven, Jimmy Fanton, he reached out to me and he said, "Look, I'd love to have a movie just like that about my pizzeria. I've been in business for a few years. I love the work you did, and I just would love to have that story told. I feel like I have a good story." So we we were musing about this, and I've been working on different shows. I've worked with Vice when they were doing the pizza show and helped produce the show in New Haven, with Frank Pinello, and and I've done some other versions of this, but this was like an opportunity, and I said, well, why don't we try making an episode for something that could be bigger, a travel pizza show that has this sort of element that we saw with Anthony Bourdain traveling around, but it's actually got the sort of interest that we all talk about on Pizza Club, and we all want to know is this the background stories to the people who started this. Like, where did they learn? What happened? How hard was it? Like, what did their family members think of them? And how much sleep did they lose? And all these elements tell a story about how, and this is fascinating, the title, Slice of America, how pizza is now migrating around this country. It's moving from cities to other cities. It's going from Detroit to Florida, for example. It's going from New Haven to Florida. It's going from St. Louis to perhaps Texas. And so you're getting an inter-American migratory pattern of how people travel, where they move, and what they want. They want the pizza they grew up with. And I think this first iteration of this is to tell those stories. It doesn't have to be the New Haven style, but I'd rather it be, in the beginning, just because I'm actually a little afraid of other styles of pizza. I'll be honest. They scare me. Not New York style. New York style is approachable, but some of the other ones are just like, ooh, I can't work out enough to keep the calories off if I do a show like this. So anyway, it's really fun, and we have a screening coming up Thursday, July 11th in Florida, in Stuart, Florida. So if you are a Florida person and you're there, or you just want to fly down, we are at the Lyric Theater in Stuart Thursday night, 7 p.m. There's going to be a talk back afterwards. The director and myself and Jimmy Fanton, who's the owner and also co-starring in the movie, of course, we'll be there to talk and tell how we made it and what the intention is and what we're trying to do next. And maybe I think this is the way to get the ideas out and get the community involved, and that's how the best things work.
That's great. And for those who are watching this later, probably after that, tell us how they can potentially find this, other opportunities to watch the movie.
Well, the next movie we do is about a time machine, and so they'll have to get into that time machine and travel back. So
it's a pizza time machine too.
Of course, yeah. It's inside the oven. Don't go. So the next time we're going to screen this, so far it's planned for September, right before our pizza festival. We have it now on a ominous date of September 11th, but we are going to screen it in New Haven, Connecticut, and that's exciting. And then it will be streaming. It'll be on DVD, which is coming back apparently. The DVD situation. That's what I hear. And it'll be streaming so people can see it. And then we're pitching it. We're pitching it to anyone that will listen that wants to take this to the next level. And so I think I have some cues to go down, but it's really exciting. And I think we're really proud of this. I think we're really proud of the storytelling and the way it's been produced and what can happen. It's the kind of storytelling I think pizza deserves.
I'm excited to check it out. I know everybody in our audience will definitely keep an eye out for it, coming to your streamer near you soon. And if you can get to the screenings, great. And before we wrap up, just real quick, Pizza Fest is coming up.
Yes.
Just tell us a little bit about that. And
yeah.
What it's all about.
Yeah, I mean, this is the best. So, I mean, every year for 9 years, we've had the Beats Feast, and it's a free entry street pizza festival in downtown New Haven with the New Haven Grand Prix cycling races. And we get 15 to 20,000 people coming out over a 6-hour period. It's Friday, September 13th. There's going to be over 20 pizza vendors. There's over 35 to 40 vendors. There's beer and wine. There's a pizza pie relay race that's going to be competitive, going up and down the street so that people can sign up and buy restaurant and compete. We are having a pizza eating competition again for the second year in a row.
Wow.
and we're trying to make it a national, kind of like one of the official national competitions, but
sure.
Yes. So we have a lot of stuff. It's family friendly. There's kids stuff as well. And it really is a freeing, wonderful time. And so we invite everybody to come back to New Haven, come up to New Haven, stay over, make a New Haven staycation. Because Guess what? We don't bite. but you will bite the pizza.
Is that
I
that's
know
the
it's
official
sick.
slogan? I don't,
Yeah.
maybe we'll workshop that later. But it's spelled out a pizza, but it's pronounced a beats Pizza Festival, and that's on September 11th in 2024 in Connecticut. But if you don't catch it this year, and you're watching this video later, you do this every year, so make sure to keep an eye out for it. And I want to thank you so much, Colin, for making time to come on and tell us about what you're up to. Real quick, how can people find you on the social medias and to follow along with what you're up to?
Yeah, I mean, the best probably is Taste of New Haven. So if you just Taste of New Haven, all one word, you'll find me. I do a lot of my programming through there and voicing about pizza, about New Haven, about activities. And there's other ways to get me, but that's the easiest. It's good. Taste of New Haven.
Awesome. Thank you so much again. And for those who are not already following us, you can check us out at I Need Pizza Club on Instagram. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share this channel and this video. And I hope to see you on the next episode. This has been Pizza Industry Convos as part of the Pizza Club Network, and we'll see you soon. Thanks,
See you
Colin.
soon. Bye, Michael.